This is Dave McCain with the Right Tree Genealogy, doing another video based on the series I'd already completed on SNP FT461132, but particularly on something that took place on the ISOGG YBrowse. There is a change that took place. Here's what happened. And by the way, these two images, I did not have a capture of these, but someone else did. One of my viewers of the videos actually captured these two images from Lucy Nelson. She had captured these from the ISOGG website before anything took place. If we look at this, this is the range for the G1 palindrome. 22,726,886 to 23,061,325. That's what it was. Well, the SNP itself was at 22,734,513. Well, obviously, that SNP, as it was defined before last week, would have shown up inside the G1 palindrome. Now, what I want to do next is go to the live ISOGG site and show you what it looks like today and make a few more comments. So this is being recorded directly from the website of ISOGG YBrowse, and this is what it is as of today. The yellow dot here I will zoom in on in a few minutes, but this is the SNP in question. This blue bar represents what's called the blue 2 palindrome, which is inside the region YQ1111.223, which has been the zone in question. You also have QTZ19 in here. There's a lot of SNPs to find, and actually what you see in these red dots, all these red dots represent SNPs that were named by one of the existing companies out there that would call it. And there's a very dense region here, if you notice, of SNPs given names between the B2, palindrome B2, and the one in question today, G1. If you notice, and we'll flip back to the other page, was defined at 22,726,886. That was the beginning point. Now that we're back on this page, we can see that the B2 ends at 22,726,630, and the G1 begins at 22,746,681. That leaves a gap in between the two of these. This gap is called unique 3 or U3. It's well known by phylogeneticists and those people that work in biology on the Y chromosome. For those of us who do research using the ISOGG browser, or we look at other SNPs on the different sites, we don't look at this as detailed as those that are phylogeneticists. So the well-known phylogeneticist here that I'll state is Thomas Cron, who is actually the one that posts this data and updates this information. So what took place was my viewer Lucy watched the video, was asking questions about that, and there was a discussion that took place, and Garth Henson looked into it. He also deeply studies into the palindromes and into the Y-DNA, and it led to a discussion with Thomas Cron. Being a phylogeneticist and the one who runs this data or posts this data for the ISOGG, noticed based on their discussion that the U3 region or section was missing. And for those of us that do this as genetic genealogists, it is important to know that there is a gap, a section where there's a lot of SNPs called, given names, and when they are given those names, they have a lot more likelihood to appear on the haplotree. Now, with that said, I want to shout out to Thomas for making the change on this ISOGG YBrowse. This particular SNP, and the one I'm getting ready to zoom in on now, and the one that I've presented in the other videos, there still are caution because it is in that large palindrome area, but it's not as though it's in the G1 anymore, and that's what's significant here. So we're going to zoom it in, and we're going to zoom it way down to 1K, and you notice Now you see the palindromes have disappeared off of the screen, and they should because they're not in this area. And you notice how it's getting a little more visible, that SNP I'm referencing. Well, let's take it one more step down to 170, and now you see it. These are SNPs that have been defined in this area. Because this is FTDNA, it has one defined here, FTDNA has one defined here, FTDNA has one defined here. Big Y, which is the Big Y 500, if you see the BY, that's when they did their first name on family tree DNA, had their first naming convention of BY, and then it went to the FTs once they got into Big Y 700. And then we're going to zoom it down just a little bit further, down to 9 SNPs. And now you see that this is indeed the SNP in question, FT461132. It is no longer listed in a palindrome region, which is what I've been pointing out on this video. The key for all of us here is that the ISOGG browser is for us to use as users. Genetic genealogists, family genealogists, those the admins or individuals who want to find out about the Y-DNA. So what I want to say here is thanks to Lucy, thanks to Garth, thanks to Thomas for making this change happen. It adds the area for us to know that there is a U3 now. If you weren't a phylogeneticist or a person dealing with biology at this level of genetics, the U3 did not exist to us, or most of us. The gain we have here is now we know if one is called in the U3, and there's a lot in this area, we have the potential of having it called on the haplotree, and that could help refine the dating of our entire branch of the Y-DNA. If this was helpful, please consider subscribing right here or watching some of these other videos. I will attach the playlist for the series that led to this change taking place. Let's continue learning together.